So as I'm seeking justice, there's like an extortion gang. Anytime I expose my mother's daughter for killing my mother's daughter, Bolale especially, was moving with a bad gang. And so they follow me around with people to try to jump me and beat me up and get me killed. I believe this gang believe if they can kill me, my mother's daughters, Bolale and Flora, will inherit any money. My mother was killed by the daughters, Bolale and Flora. My mother said the daughters were after money. So I just got off the R train, and soon this black American kid started following me. They were yelling stuff, so I looked back, and one of them was grabbing a girl, and they were all walking close to me, trying to rub their body on my stuff. And I don't like people doing that because I heard people can go to court and claim they caught a bed bug from touching your stuff. They said during the Paris Olympics in 2024, people were saying they were catching bed bugs from touching a piece of property. So they've had little kids like that to jump me in the past. They would start a provocation with me, try to rub their body on me. I said, don't do that. And they would attack me afterwards. So I believe this Me Too believes they can frame people up as crazy. And they use that method to kill my mother. My mother was a daughter, Bolale, was moving with like a Me Too type group. A gang. And in 2015, at that time, Me Too wasn't set up. They were still like underground. And she said they were into drugs and stuff. And my mother said that drug started poisoning my mother, her with like car antifreeze fluid. So my mother fled from Pennsylvania to come to New York, and that daughter followed her days later and told the hospital where my mother was getting to lock my mother up in the psych ward. And she didn't know how that daughter could have so much influence about the hospital. And the hospital decided to lock my mother up wrongfully, and my mother got so angry, protested, she collapsed and died. And around 2021, some black American kids were stalking me, and they beat me up around this area upstairs and right into the train, into a store owned by a white guy, and the white guy caught them and the police would intervene. And Gloria Allred of the Me Too told me she and the police worked together because I told her to help me that the police came into my home, kicked my mother out wrongfully in 2010, and sexually abused me. And Erigana was helping with the court papers. They went and Erigana dead. And I asked her, could she help me? She told me she can't help me. That she and the police work in like an unlawful collusion, and if she helps me expose them, they will drop the R. Kelly and Weinstein case. And that she needs them to help her arrest R. Kelly and Weinstein so she can make money for her client. That's Gloria Allred telling me this. So they are forming an unlawful pact whereby this Me Too is getting people beat up. And soon after that, R. Kelly said he was beaten up in prison, and now he said it's a murder attempt on his life. I'm not, I don't know R. Kelly personally. I'm just like a general witness, so I don't really know what is going on. I'm not in the prison with them, but I know I'm experiencing violence from this Me Too group, and the police will surround me anywhere I go. If I use the bathroom, the police will come to the bathroom, any train station. Say somebody says something about you and you have to leave the station. I'm like, excuse me, who is this making a report? Can you make a police report? And the police will get very vulnerable with me. Say somebody says something about you in the bathroom, you have to leave the station. So they don't let me use the women's bathroom and they won't give me a report. So they said, so I believe this Me Too is hagging on the police that you can kill, and especially a vulnerable person like me. My mother has been killed, my father has been killed, my friend Erigana has been killed, so I'm just a foreigner. And I don't really have, since I took that one to the court, it's been killing. So they believe, they said their law enforcement and their racist groups in America always take advantage of poor, vulnerable foreigners, of poor, vulnerable people that may not have anybody to stand up for them. There was a report I was reading some years ago, said the FBI and the NYPD and some, racist group in America are colluding to frame up young black people that are from poor families and have nobody that will fight for them, to frame them up and abuse them and harm them, and just to test the justice system. If these people will stand a chance to get justice. So I believe this Erigana's death will be connected to the Me Too and this experimentation going on. So this is a war crime. They are putting targets on people's backs, and they're hiring blacks, possibly like my mother's daughter and black Americans, to help in the frame up. So they're relying on my mother's daughter. That if they kill me, she will testify that, she believes I'm crazy, and, and there's no problem. It's a good death. And she believes she and her daughter and other sister Flora, Polani and Flora, will inherit all my money. So in case I get harmed and I can't represent myself anymore or killed, only an international civil rights organization that hasn't denied me up in the past, or any civil rights activists that haven't denied me up in the past, should administer my estate and make sure any asset they get from my estate is used to get justice for me and my dead mother, and the rest of any of the assets should be used to give charity to those suffering with xenophobia like me, and those being deported by Trump and their families should be prioritized for such charity. I don't want to be removed to another country. I'm a green card holder. I believe this Me Too group have influence in other places and they can kill me anywhere else. My mother used to have family that lives in England, Canada, and she told me she reached out to her families there and they didn't want to help her either. So she told me if she ever dies, I should only contact strangers. So I'm not safe in any other country. This Me Too are hiring people and they're getting people beat up. Like that R. Kelly. I'm also witness to certain things that, it may be experiencing, because I spoke with the Me Too lawyer that if she could help me, and she mentioned R. Kelly's name. That's why she doesn't want to help me, because if she helps me to go after the police will drop the R. Kelly and Weinstein case, and she needs money from him by getting him arrested and getting money for a client. So this is an unlawful collusion. This is bribery, and this is how they're treating the black life. So they're going against the Brooklyn Federal Court ruling 2013 that racial profiling and targeting blacks for harm, like this Me Too is doing, or wrongfully colluding with the police is wrong. Floyd versus City of New York. So please, Brooklyn Federal Court, you have to step up and get these people put in prison and hire a special prosecutor to prosecute these people. So there can't be any justice for anybody in this level of corruption and collusion going on, whereby they're framing people up to kill witnesses like me, and the police will just attack me anywhere I go. In the bathroom, says somebody says something about me and they won't identify the person. There was a time they did this to me in 2019. Says somebody said something about me and they went and locked me up, choked me, put me in the psychiatric ward. I said the person's name is BB, that's all they know about the person, they don't know any other name. So the person said I was crazy and I needed to be locked up. And the police came and picked me up on the street. I told them I wasn't crazy. A white guy was pulling my hair, in front of the police camera on July 23rd, 2019, on Bay Ridge and 4th Avenue. I have dreadlocks, I was pulling my hair. I told him not to do that, he always does that. I said that's sexual harassment, sir. Don't do that again. And he'll come back and do it again some other time. So, anytime I use the bathroom in the train station, the train worker also hired thugs to abuse me in the bathroom. So that day I was using the bathroom in the train station for women, the bathroom for women, on July 23rd, 2019, at Prospect Park by the Q line. And then there was somebody in the bathroom who was menacing, so I required the person to menace him in the bathroom. I said, I'm going to upload the video later on. They're going to be arrested because they keep bringing thugs in the bathroom to menace me. Because I'm a transsexual, they said, they don't want transsexual in the bathroom anymore. I believe this Me Too was telling, he's telling the subway to abuse me and get me killed. So my mother's daughter, Bishop's connected me to Polanyi, she could inherit all the money. Because I don't have any child, I'm unmarried. So I believe they're just weaponizing sex, some of these people to enrich themselves off of it. Like that Gloria always says, she doesn't really care to help me about my own sexual abuse, that she just wants money for her client, and Lucky and R. Kelly will give them money. So it seems like money is what they're really after. I'm not doubting that, I'm not saying some of the claims they make against all these people is wrong, but I'm just saying, but you can't weaponize the justice system just for the sole purpose of making money. There has to be a due process that has to be abided by everyone. So this one is going on. So right now, my life is in danger. The police took my home wrongfully on Staten Island, and they refused to honor a court order since 1990 that if they remove you from the basement apartment, that they have to put you in hotel room. They refused to put me in hotel room. So I've been standing on the street and seeing that I'm trying to get them to put me in hotel room. They killed my friend, and my mother's been killed. And me and my mother were the one removed from the basement apartment here in New York City. Our daughters, Molly and Frank, always were living in Pennsylvania. They have their houses in Pennsylvania. So our daughters were jealous that it's just me and my mother that would get the money because the daughters didn't live with us in New York. It's just me and my mother that lived in the basement apartment that the place would move. Yeah, now, my mom says, I got outside address. Well, I left wanted to kill her LA so they can inherit the money as an inheritance scam. So this was the problem.